Nigeria's Fidelity Bank, Reginald Iheajiahi, said that Nigerian banks have invested over $2 billion in the ongoing reforms in Nigeria's power sector. This includes financing bids for recently privatized assets. So what can we expect the banks to do in the power sector? CNBC Africa's Umu Ibrahim caught up with Reginald Iheajiahi, the CEO of Fidelity Bank, to find out more.
Well, the Nigerian banking sector has supported the power sector in, I would say, two broad ways. The first was to finance independent power plants. Most people don't know this, but we've always had independent power plants, gas-fired largely, and some of them are plants that are contracted to supply power to specific off-takers, like manufacturing companies, especially the cement companies. They have in most cases used operators. So those operators have come to banks and banks have provided the financing. That we do every day. For example, there is an independent power plant in Lagos that supplies power completely to the Lagos State Water Corporation, which Fidelity Bank financed in 2010. And that had the effect of doubling the water intake in Lagos, and then, of course, water use through the pipes in Lagos. So we have things like that. The second way, which is what most people look at now, is the just concluded privatization of the assets of the previous monopoly, PHCN. Nigerian banks financed the acquisition by the eligible consortia of the generating plants and also the distribution plants. Total investment provided by Nigerian banks is $2.1 billion US. So that's quite significant financing. Obviously, there's going to be additional capital expenditure required post the takeover of those assets. And so, but that's a different situation. So these are how Nigerian banks have continued to finance the power sector. So in terms of hard finance, but there's also something we have done, and that's the advisory and the hand-holding, especially for the current consortia that have acquired these PHCN assets. A lot of advisory work has gone in there to make sure that these actually become successful cash flow generating enterprises post the handover.
After the banks put in their money in the country's power sector, how would they expect investment returns?
Obviously, these are specific project finance, specific corporate finance, and targeted activities. For the generating companies, as you know, their power is evacuated into the national grid and sold to the bulk trader. There is a bulk trader who buys this power. On the backside, the bulk trader required the distribution companies to post standby letters of credit, guaranteeing that they will have the capacity to pay and will indeed pay for the power that is supplied into their territories. So it's from this flow that Nigerian banks get paid. If you finance a generating company, the bulk trader pays you, and the bulk trader, of course, passes on that power to about 15 or so distribution companies in the country, who, of course, have guaranteed their power use through standby letters of credit, and they eventually reach the last mile by selling the power to homes, to factories, and to all kinds of users. And again, cash results at that end. So there's a collection process also involved for a Nigerian bank that has actually financed a distribution company. We have specific other watertight, electronic-based process for collection and, of course, for metering. So that's the way. It's quite a tight look, very carefully thought through, and so that gives us a lot of confidence.
A lot of financial support has come from, the banking sector. However, some still say, the Nigerian banking sector is still not a major stakeholder in the country's power sector. What do you look forward to in the future, in terms of support for the power sector?
No, the Nigerian banks now, I would say, are by far, by a long margin, substantial interested parties in what's going on in the power sector in terms of their investment. $2.1 billion US just for the acquisition finance, which is a proportion of the acquisition finance, is a lot of money. You know also that the independent power plants that were built by government over the last 8 years are going to come up for privatization in 2014. Tenders have just opened for expression of interest. And I would expect, depending on how certain outstanding matters are dealt with, the Nigerian banks will again take an interest in that. Obviously, we keep on looking at risk. We keep on looking at our portfolio, and all of this is done in the context of what is prudent for Nigerian banks.